Welcome to Ageless Fury. Randall Cox here. Today we're going to talk about obesity, what that's doing to our society, and how we can hopefully avoid it. Hey, if this is your first time here, start by subscribing now. Let's get those notifications turned on so you don't miss anything. Now, obesity is becoming, the biggest health crisis in the world. And for the first time in history, children are facing shorter lifespans than their parents. The reason is poor eating habits. Now, obesity is heading to become the world's #1 cause of premature death and take over from smoking, okay? And $15 billion is being spent per year to fight obesity. This is due to a massive increase in heart disease, high blood pressure, and diabetes. Now, the last 50 years, diabetes has increased 900% in the United States. It's gone from 1 in 10,000 to now it's 1 in 11. The obesity rates have increased 250% since the 1960s. Now, the diabetes epidemic that started in the 1980s as people went from eating whole nutritious foods to highly processed foods that were high in sugar. Right now, we have 450 million people worldwide that suffer from type 2 diabetes. And 10,000 people per day on average are dying from it. Now, diabetes is going to cause damage to, our kidneys, our liver, our heart, our blood vessels, which can eventually lead to stroke. Now, depending on that level of type 2 diabetes going on in your bodies, you're probably going to shave, 10, 15 years off your lifespan. And there's now talk of a type 3 diabetes. Okay, we're starting to learn that the increase of insulin to our central nervous system is leading to this Alzheimer's thing that we've got going on in society right now. And as Ageless Fury is all about living healthy into our 90s, we can see why, this diabetes thing is going to be a major roadblock in accomplishing that. Now, if you ever experience heart attack or stroke, your body is now compromised. Okay, trust me, it doesn't magically go back to normal, but you can, correct that to some degree, and you can certainly minimize the chances that that will ever happen again. Now, our bodies are not able to effectively process high amounts of insulin. Okay, this is a major reason behind this increase in the type 2 diabetes. So why then are our bodies producing 3 times the amount of insulin that we did 40 years ago? And the answer to that is sugar. Now, on a daily basis, we're consuming 3 to 4 times the amount of sugar our bodies can effectively metabolize. You walk into your neighborhood grocery store, about 75% of every product on the shelf has added sugar. Now, there are some grocery stores out there, they do a little bit better job of getting some nutritional items on the shelves, but they're by and large a minority. Now, sugar, of course, look, it's highly addictive, it's highly controversial, and without question, it does make the foods that we eat taste better. And there are 50 different names out there for those sugar products that are being added to our foods. Now, once you exceed the amount of sugar that your liver can effectively process, it becomes overwhelmed, okay? It cannot burn it faster than it comes in. It's going to turn that into a liver fat that has to be exported, right? And this is going to cause this heart disease, and of course it's going to lead down that path of type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure. The glycemic index, now that measures how quickly foods spike our blood sugar. So when you eat a food that's high glycemic, right, that's going to increase our blood sugar and our chances for heart disease and diabetes. Now, we take something like a green leafy vegetable, for example, that's going to be very low on that glycemic index. But we take, a food that's made with a white and rich flour, like a white bread, right? That's going to be very high on that glycemic index. And while, high glycemic foods aren't necessarily a bad thing, when they're eaten in excess, the end result is usually a bad thing. Now, the 3 main things that food producers use to manufacture their foods, because they're cheaper to process, is going to be a refined starch from grains. It could be a corn, a soy, or a wheat. You're going to have your sugar, right? That's refined. It's going to be a, sucrose or maybe a high fructose corn syrup. And then you're going to have a cheap vegetable oil like a corn or a canola. This is why reading those food labels is so important as we try to get to a nutritious eating plan. So one of the first things we need to do is we've got to change up some of these delicious unhealthy foods we're eating to a more healthy food. And yes, we're going to sacrifice some flavor initially, at least until we can acquire taste for these healthy foods. Sorry, can't have your cake and eat it too. Could never be more realistic than this scenario right here. And trust me, it isn't going to be easy. It is going to be hard. And if you go in expecting it to be easy, sorry, but you're going to fail. But look, let's not try and conquer the world in one day, okay? Let's be prepared to make some sacrifices, okay, if we want to achieve some success. We want to list out the foods and beverages that we're eating on a daily basis, and we want to look at a few of those unhealthy ones and see if we can't cut those out of our eating plan. Now, one place to start is with soda and sugary beverages, okay? Let's change that up to a water, a green tea, healthy drink. Maybe that's a Spindrift for an example. Now, trust me, it's not going to taste like Coke or Pepsi, but definitely healthier. We also want to look for products with clean ingredients, no sugar added and no artificial flavors. Now, seeking out those foods that will satisfy our hunger, it's going to take time, as it may take several different food trials to find the right foods, right? That's going to, fill you up and make you eat less, because what we don't want to do is continue eating after we're full. Now, there are a number of different diet programs out there. You've got Mediterranean, you've got South Beach, Atkins, Zone, Keto diets. But in reality, we don't want to be on a diet. And I always associate a diet is, reducing calories to get to a certain weight. And it is understood that, for some people, you will have to initially reduce calories, to get to that maintenance level. But what we ultimately want to have then is a balanced eating plan of eating the right number of calories on a daily basis. Now, I've tried the keto diet twice. I never made it past 3 weeks either time, so I can't give a fair assessment, if it works or not. But, for me, I just feel there is a need for a healthy carbohydrate. For my body, I think that's critical. Now, I used to eat 1 gram of protein for every pound of body weight. So at 215 pounds, I would consume 215 grams of protein. I've now cut that down to about a 0.7, per pound of body weight. So I'm in at about 170 or 150 to 170 grams of protein per day. Now, my calories have remained the same, okay, that intake. My fat intake is slightly higher, but my carbohydrate intake has increased, which of course is the exact reverse of what the keto diet is all about. Now look, I've gotten stronger. My body fat percentage has gone down. Now this is simply a formula that worked for me. And of course, what really matters is you finding the formula that works for you. I feel that any eating program will work if followed correctly, as they all have the same theory of eating the correct number of calories to either achieve, a healthy weight loss or maintain that ideal weight. And of course, the foods that we eat are critical to that equation, because we can't change our bad eating habits from the past. Only good eating habits going forward into our future. Okay, let's get back into listing out, those food and beverages that we eat on a daily basis. We've already talked about the beverages. So as we get into the foods, I'm sure you can easily go down that list and find some things that, hey, look, these are not healthy, and this is where you start. These are the items that you need to look at cutting out of your daily eating. Now, this is where we start, right? By stopping eating that unhealthy food and replacing it with something healthy. Now, we already know coming in that, there's going to be a taste factor here, right? But we need to get accustomed to that. But this is something you must do. This is one of those, no coloring outside the lines thing, because that's ugly. And we want to be pretty. So starting today, we're going to do that beverage thing. Okay, it's only water, green tea, and a healthy drink. We're going to add to that one unhealthy food item, and we're going to replace that with a healthy food item. We're going to call that Plan A. We're going to run with it and see how it goes, but we can't go backwards, right? We need to make sure that we stay consistent. And this is probably not the greatest advice, but you can still continue eating those other unhealthy, foods in your daily eating, but you have to stick to Plan A, right? We need to conquer Plan A so that we can move on to a Plan B. Now, if you fall backwards, hey, look, don't beat yourself up. Okay, let's just start again. Let's get to the point to where this is just a daily habit in our lives and not a thought process. And we also add exercise into this equation as, the exercise is just as important. And trust me, there's no exercise program out there that can, exercise away a bad eating plan. And I'm a perfect example at age 50. I'm training 5-6 days a week and I still managed to get overweight, right? But let's not take out more than we can chew right out of the gate, especially, if we're starting from scratch. So ideally, we're going to start that Plan A exercise program with that Plan A eating program. And I think that's going to be the best, is those two are going to work hand in hand, because that exercise is going to make us want to eat healthier. That healthier eating is going to energize those workouts. Now, you also need to figure out, how do I monitor my progress? The scale can be misleading, right? If we're losing fat, we're gaining muscle, our body weight is going to stay the same. So then we look at, okay, we could measure our waist, our hips, and our thighs. That could work. Now, for weight training, are we getting stronger? Well, yeah, let's hope so, because that means that we're adding muscle. But, when we start to look at ways to measure our body fat, that can be difficult. There's one method, which is the BMI, but, for me, my BMI is 26. 26 equates to being overweight. Hey, look, I'm not sure of a lot of things in life, but I don't think I'm going to drop dead tomorrow from being overweight. Now, something as simple as the way that our clothes fit, right? That can help us measure success. Certainly going from a size 10 down to a size 8, or maybe you go from a 40-inch waist down to a 38, those are all steps in that right direction, right? Because we're trying to, get to our finish line here. We're trying to achieve those goals. We're trying to get to that end vision. Hey, please leave your comments as I work with people on their quest for better health. And if you're looking for more programs to help you out with that weight loss, nutrition, and your exercise goals, please follow me on YouTube and Instagram. Thank you.